We often think that talent is the secret sauce for success. But what if I told you the real key isn't how smart you are, but how disciplined you can be? Today, we're going to dive into a story that really proves a simple truth. Talent might get your foot in the door, but it's that deep focus that actually gets you across the finish line. And this right here, this is the core idea we're digging into. It sounds a little weird, right? I mean, we're all raised to believe that intelligence is everything. But as we're about to see, it's really just one small piece of a much, much bigger puzzle. All right, so let's meet the star of our story, a guy named Ryan. He's that classic smart kid. You know the type, just brimming with potential, has this huge, ambitious dream. The only problem? He's got a restless, totally unfocused mind that is constantly getting in his own way. So here's the fundamental conflict, right? On one side, you've got this incredible goal, becoming a doctor, and on the other, just this relentless storm of modern distractions. I mean, every single time he tried to sit down and study, his mind would just wander to his phone, to social media, or just off into daydreams. Sound familiar? I think it does to a lot of us. And this became his personal motto. You know the one, the classic trap of procrastination. He really believed his natural intelligence was this safety net that later would always be there for him to fall back on. But as so many of us learn the hard way, later has a nasty habit of never actually showing up. Well, that whole belief system was about to get a serious reality check. There was a huge scholarship exam coming up, a massive opportunity that could basically fast-track his entire dream of becoming a doctor. This was his big moment, his chance to prove just how smart he really was.
And the result? It was simple, stark even. He failed. All of that potential, all that natural intelligence, it just wasn't enough. And in that one moment, the entire illusion that just being smart was all that mattered, it just completely shattered.
So what happened next was absolutely crucial. He had to watch his friends, the ones who had studied consistently, do really well. He saw the disappointment in the eyes of the teachers who used to praise him, who really believed in him. And that's when it finally hit him. The problem wasn't his intelligence, not at all. It was his complete lack of discipline. So humbled, but now really determined to change, Ryan went looking for a mentor. He didn't need a tutor to explain biology or chemistry. He needed a coach for his mind. And he found one, Coach Miller, a guy known for helping even the most scattered students find their focus. And what did Coach Miller do? He skipped the big lecture and just handed Ryan a bow and arrow. After Ryan took a shot, the coach asked him, "So what were you looking at?" And Ryan admitted, everything. The trees, the field, the board. The coach's lesson was so simple but so powerful. A true athlete sees only the target. Everything else just has to fade into the background. Okay, so Ryan got the analogy. It clicked. But he needed a practical plan, right? Like, how do I actually do that? So Coach Miller boiled all his wisdom down into 4 simple, totally actionable rules to start training his mind. This became his new playbook. First up, control your thoughts. Every single time his mind started to drift, he had to consciously, actively pull it back to the task at hand. Second, make a routine. A clear schedule for when to study and when to rest basically trained his brain to know when it's time to focus. Third, and this is a big one, keep distractions away. His phone, the TV, anything that wasn't essential for studying got put out of sight, out of mind. And finally, maybe the most important rule of all, practice every single day. This isn't a one-time fix, It's like building a muscle. It requires that small, consistent effort day in and day out. So, armed with these new rules, Ryan got to work. He built a strict routine. He shut his phone off. Every time his mind started to wander, he would just gently guide it back to his goal. Now, it was really hard at first, for sure. But slowly, something started to shift. And the transformation was just remarkable. This timeline really shows you the power of that consistent effort. In just a few months, he went from that rock-bottom moment of failure to applying these new principles every single day. And when the next big exam came around, he didn't just pass, he came in first place. And this right here, this is the core lesson of his entire victory. It wasn't some stroke of luck. It wasn't a sudden burst of genius. It was the direct, hard-earned result of his discipline. He had finally trained his mind to work for him instead of against him. This whole transformation perfectly illustrates a timeless piece of wisdom that Coach Miller shared with him, a really powerful metaphor for what Ryan had just accomplished. I absolutely love this quote. It just perfectly captures the whole story, doesn't it? An untrained mind is just chaotic. It's going to pull you towards every random thought, every notification, every distraction. But a trained, disciplined mind, well, that becomes your greatest asset. It becomes this powerful force that carries you straight to your goals. So, this leaves all of us with a final question to think about. We all have a destination, a goal we want to reach, but an untamed mind is never going to get you there. So, the real question isn't how smart are you, it's whether you have the discipline to actually take the reins.